I think humans learn by watching, right? Even when
Hmm.
we're kids, we imitate our parents or our
Sure.
teachers or people that are in our environment. Just by watching his creative process and other people's creative process, you kind of start naturally doing things that are similar. And that's how it happened.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How's it going? How's your
I'm
day?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I appreciate you taking time to hang out. Thank you.
Of course, of course. I've been looking forward to hang out with you. I watched some of the episodes of the podcast and I was like, this is a cool thing. I want to be part of it.
Amazing. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. So this is about you and your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new song you put out and what you have coming up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. So I saw that you were you born and raised in Spain? Is that what I saw?
So I was born in Colombia, in
Okay.
Cali. That's where my family is from. But at an early age, my family moved to Spain. So I grew up there, and house music was a very big part of my life because the culture there is just really big. So just going out and in school and with friends, DJing and house music was just a very big part of my life. And just going out, like nightlife culture in Europe is different from here.
Oh, I bet.
Um, so that's how everything started. And then I moved to the US. Life take you in different directions, right?
Hmm.
And there was a point where I realized that I wanted to do something with my life that was meaningful to me and that I was making a difference in the world. And that for me is, I'm an artist and I have always been this way. I love to express myself in different ways.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that was like, that's my calling to, like, connect with people through music. And I truly believe that music is a healing tool.
Oh, I 100%. 100% agree with
So
that.
for me, I've been approaching it that way. And in my own personal journey, it's been like that too. It's been a healing tool for myself.
Hmm.
So that's what I hope to give to everyone with that.
Yeah. So you said your family moved to Spain when you were really young. Do you even remember living in Colombia at all?
Yes, yes. So I was in Colombia for like my first 10 years,
Oh, okay.
like when until I was like 10. And then I moved to Spain and with my family. And but yeah, I mean, Colombia was also a very big part of my life. And recently, my mom moved back to Cali, that is like where we are from.
Hmm.
And it's been such a beautiful experience to reconnect with my culture in that way, and my cousins and my aunts. And because for a long time, I've definitely felt that I was like a gypsy, right? Because I moved so much from
Hmm.
Colombia to Spain, from Spain to here. So I got to experience different cultures. And in the midst of trying to adjust to those cultures, you kind of lose yourself a little bit and you lose your roots. So now I am having the opportunity to reconnect with that and to do that through my music.
That's nice. So have you gone back fairly often? I mean, do you go back fairly often to see your
So
mom and the
I
family?
haven't been back in such a long time. And like I
Okay.
said, my mom just moved there,
Hmm.
back to where we're from. Like she's she's just yeah, she's going through such a like beautiful re-embracing her culture. So and that like obviously has such a big impact in me because I'm very close to her.
Hmm.
So I'm planning to go back this year soon, actually, in a
That's
couple of
incredible.
months. Yeah, and really excited about that. I
Yeah,
don't
that'll
know
be
how I'm
awesome.
gonna feel.
Yeah, you been back
Yes.
since you were 10?
Yes, yes, yes. I
Oh,
went
okay.
back. I went back a few times between then and now, but
Okay.
not enough. Not enough.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was gonna
You
be,
know,
"Oh,
you know what
I've
is
gotta come back for
interesting?
the first time," you
When you
know?
live in the search for a better life, because like my experience wasn't like, oh, we were just like traveling the world, you know what I mean?
Right.
Our experience was like we're living in search for a better life.
Mhm.
And that was my truth and my family's truth. So like when you, I guess, and this is something that I have thought about a lot lately, actually, when you leave a country for those reasons, right?
Mhm.
I guess there is also like a lot of generational trauma that goes with that, of
Oh
like
yeah.
wanting to better yourself and wanting to fit in other cultures and wanting to, but, now that we have grown and things are changing, we have the opportunity to be like, oh wow, like our culture is really beautiful and we don't have to like, maybe it was because there's so much with politics and things that happen that affect
Mhm.
people and communities.
For
So,
sure. Yeah, I would imagine
yeah,
moving, yeah, especially under the circumstances, it being
yeah.
pretty hard. Was it like you guys knew, like, was your family preparing to move, or was it kind of like a quick thing? Like you kind of found out about it last minute, like, oh hey, we're going to Spain. Like we gotta go.
Yeah, it was something that it was, my mom thought about it for a while,
Mhm.
and it was just, even now we talk about it. I talk about it with her, and I was like, why did we left Colombia? I asked her, and she goes to me like, at that time, Colombia was going through so much politically, and it's not like living in the United States at that time. Now it's so different, and
Mm,
things have changed so much. But at that time, it was challenging, and we personally in our family went through a lot of things that my mom wanted better for us, and not have to experience or go through, worse trauma than we went through.
sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. Wow. And then so you land in Spain, in Madrid. Spain, is that what I saw, I think. And you live there. And how much different was that? Like right off the bat, are you have to adapt to this new country, new culture, and new people. Was that difficult?
It was I mean, yes, it was a really big change for me. Even though Spain is, we speak the same language,
Mhm.
the slang is completely different. And, being an immigrant coming from a South American country, there is some racism that happens,
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
and that is just a fact of immigration. And so it was difficult, but it taught me a lot of strength, and it taught me a lot of like, uh, I don't know, it just it teaches you to learn and to adjust to new things fast.
Mhm. And when you were in Spain, is that when you kind of got more into the house music and what you're doing now? I mean, you talked about,
Yeah. I
the
mean,
nightlife culture and
honestly,
everything.
being an artist and being somebody creative, it's always with you. I realize that, I have always been like wanting to either sing or dance or make music with like anything, or
Mhm.
like my mom has also always been a very musical person, but she never had the chance to pursue that.
Mhm.
So it has always been in my life and in my family, not
Okay,
looking
so you
back.
come from, yeah, a household that embraced music and sounds like arts in general.
Exactly, yes. But I guess we didn't call it that back then. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like people just do it. They don't tell you, oh, this is art and this is music. They're just
Sure.
living art, I guess.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that's where it comes from. And sorry, I forgot the question. What was it?
Oh, there really wasn't one. We're just kind of
Oh,
chatting.
okay.
Oh, I just kind of said, was that where that's where you started to not understand, but kind of find yourself in music as far as like,
Yeah, no, well, I
doing
realized
house
mostly
music
my
and
whole life has been like that, and being able to like through the changes in my life, my exposure to different forms of art or music has changed.
Mhm.
And throughout my life, I tend to like gravitate to things that I experienced. So, and I love learning. I'm a person that loves learning new things. Uh, so, in Colombia, obviously, the Latin side of my musical journey was really big at that time. And then when I went to Spain, I experienced electronic music very closely because just, with friends and school and just living life as a teenager, I guess I was very influenced by that and clubbing and going out and house music and just electronic music. And that was very inspiring. And when I came to the US, I was married for over 10 years to a singer and bass player.
Wow.
He was in the band Biohazard. He's in the band Biohazard. So through that, I was, also very influenced, and I was able to meet other people that were creatives and collaborate and learn from them. So I guess just growing in life, have happened very organically for me in a lot of different ways, not just music, but like, pictures and video. Like, I feel like I gravitate to different forms of expressing myself.
Sure. When you were living prior to coming to the United States, were you learning how to DJ and were you kind of creating your own music at that point, or did that start once you had moved here?
I was definitely DJing, but I wasn't I wasn't calling it that at that time. I was just like going out and DJing at parties or after, like with friends at friends' houses. I wasn't like pursuing a DJing career,
Got it.
but just doing it to have fun. And I guess that's what we were doing at the time, right?
And
But when I came to the US was when I started making my own music. Yeah.
okay. And when did that start? Like, was there something that, it sounds like when you're married to a musician, and was that part of the, being married to him, were you like exposed to more, programs or instruments or something? Is that what kind of
just
started it,
being
or
exposed
prior?
as people's creative process. I think humans learn by watching, right? Even when we're kids, we imitate our parents or our teachers or people that are in our environment. So just by watching his creative process and other people's creative process, you kind of start naturally, doing things that are similar, and that's how it happened, just started making music. I met a producer at a studio where my husband was at the time when he was recording an album. So he was in a different room and he was recording all these other artists. It was pop music. And he was working on Pro Tools. And I was just like watching him because I was just watching. I was interested in what he was doing, and I thought he was really good. And that's how I started learning and becoming interested in producing.
Okay.
So I have always been a very self-started person, I guess, because we moved a lot when I was a kid. So I have to meet people really fast. So I have always been like the type of person like goes out and like gets things going,
Yeah, you
So I
have to
started in
learn how to
music
kind of adapt to a situation
fast.
and befriend people pretty quickly.
Because if not, then I will be isolated most of my life, right? So I saw this and I was like, this is not that hard. I can do this.
Oh, was that?
And
you were
this
in
is
a.
kind of cool. So the guy that was producing my ex's album at the time, he was really into K-pop. That was like his guilty pleasure, and he was like producing all these like hardcore metal bands. And in the middle of his sessions, when he was recording vocals or like drums or whatever, he was like watching these K-pop videos, and I was like right next to him, and I was like, "What the fuck is?" And he was like showing me all this like underground K-pop, and I was like, "Yo, this is really cool." And like I just kind of like getting influenced by people, and I have this rule that every time I meet somebody that is a friend or a potential friend, I always ask them, just show me what is in your playlist or what you listen to, because you can always find and discover things from people.
Sure. So you asked them, hey, what do you listen to?
What do you listen to? Show me your playlist. Yeah.
Was there anyone that Have you ever had a relationship where met someone and said, "Oh, what's on your playlist?" and it was just so atrocious? You're like, I don't think this friendship is going to work out. So you don't even waste your time.
I don't hang out with people like that.
So right away you're like,
I
okay,
just
I know not to
don't.
work. Yeah, that's funny.
No, it just doesn't work. If I connect with somebody, it's because our souls align.
Sure. Was that okay? So you were in a group too called the Ex-Girlfriends. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Was that prior to like when did that happen? Was that around the time that you met this producer, the K-pop producer, or the
Yeah.
guy who was interested in K-pop at least?
Yeah. Um, so it was around that time. So I just put the whole thing together. I kind of like, you know, put everything together. I found all the other members of the group. I kind of like put the whole thing together, and we did a couple of singles. And we recorded a lot more, but they never got released. But around that time, I realized I started producing a lot of music and just really diving into Pro Tools, and I love that because I'm kind of like an introvert at heart.
Oh,
So I
okay.
love to just be, just be creative on my own. It's very therapeutic for me.
Sure. So you
And
actually formed the group. You helped put together the Ex-Girlfriends group.
oh yeah, the whole thing. I put the whole thing together, and it was so fun. Not just the learning experience as learning about music, and how to make music, and building my creative process, and just going and trying different things, but also getting people together and from an idea building something, and just like bringing people together and to create a song and then a music video, and kind of just like build the whole thing and make it into possibilities. It was really it was an amazing learning experience, like running a business a little bit.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
from there, is what you're doing now with the house music and electronic that you're doing, was that a lot different than what that group sounded like? Or like, so are you putting on a totally different hat with what you're doing now, musically at least?
Oh yeah, it's super different. It's very different. After that, I just, I took some time off because I realized I love doing that, but I didn't want to do it exactly that way. So I met, and it's interesting how life works. I'm just realizing how it happened now that I am telling you.
I love
I
that. I
met
love
this.
when I'm talking to people and they're kind of remembering these moments. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's what happened." That's the
I
most
met
beautiful
this
thing for me
other
in
friend,
this
and he's a DJ. He's a good friend to today, and we just he was a DJ and producer. We started going out with his people and my friends, and there was one moment that I was out and he was playing, and I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I like this. I was like, this is cool. I like how like I like the system of like connecting with people and how to do it, like the medium to do it. I like it. And I like the fact that because I tried having a group, and it was an amazing learning experience, but I loved having freedom to do a lot of things at once, and just I like to do. I want to discover things on my own. I feel like that's what I am right now. So I decided to do that, and and it sounds completely different. I mean, it's I will say that it's house music what I play, but every track is different, and I approach it from just very free and artistic perspective, and not just put a limit on time or BPM, or that's how I'm trying to approach it this time, and not letting the music not telling the music what it needs to be, but just letting the music what it wants to be. And I'm currently, I relaunched my label. I launched my own label in 2014, and I relaunched it this year. And I'm releasing, you know, underground house and techno in it, and other down tempo styles. The first release came out last month, and I have another one coming out this month, more like after hours vibes.
Okay.
And I'm working on music constantly. Right now I'm working on another EP with Bobo from Cypress Hill. He's
Oh, wow. Yeah, I saw you were
on
on like B-Real's. You did something on his network, right?
yes, on Be Real's show, Be Real TV, Dr. Brimstone. I do a mix there every Friday when I'm not playing out of
Oh, really?
town.
So you get to, you're on that show constantly then. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
yes.
Wow.
But I'm currently working on an EP with Bobo, and I'm really excited about that. I'm just, you know, in the studio working on it. And yeah.
When it comes to like working on an EP, is it just is he on the record, or like as far as the songs go, is it mainly you kind of producing different house beats or whatever beats that you want to make, and you're kind of putting together what will become a project, or what does that look like?
Well, every time is different when I collaborate with people, with different artists. I feel like I approach it in a different way, and it just comes together in a different way, because I don't just like hit at people to collaborate with them. It just kind of like happens, you know. So I know Bobo for a very long time, actually. So we collaborated already in a song that was released around 2015 in Nervous Records from New York.
Oh, wow.
That is a house label. But I reconnected with Bobo through Be Real. And when I saw him at the show, I was just so happy to see him. And he's just such an incredible person and such a warm, amazing, authentic human. So we did a little jam session at Be Real studio not too long ago. And that's how it kind of came together. Like it felt really good. And I was like, let's get on a track. So we got in the studio, and he plays incredible bongos, drums.
Oh, he's an insane percussionist. I mean, he played on like
He
License
is
to Ill
like,
and like Hello Nasty. I mean, he played with the Beastie Boys for a long time, and then of course Cypress Hill. But yeah, I mean, he's a legend for people that don't know. Yeah, Eric Bobo, he's crazy good.
Yeah. And his dad, I mean, is such a legend.
Oh yeah,
you
he's
know,
a
like,
legendary jazz musician, right?
yeah. So it comes, you know, he comes from such an incredible family of musicians. So yeah, we reconnected and we got in the studio. And when he gets in percussion, it's just like such an spiritual experience. Like he really connects to like his ancestors, I believe, because
Oh, wow.
it just flows through him. So he just does, you know, I already had a beat that I been working on. And I just go through my own emotional things, and I lock myself in my house, and that's how I make music, I guess. That's how I make like the, you know. And when I'm going through things, that's just how it comes out, whether it is like, you know, an upbeat song or songs that are more down tempo that I have never really released them, that I'm about to start releasing that side of what I make more.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
the more down tempo, the after hours stuff.
No, it's
Oh,
more
no.
that it's more music to listen to.
Okay.
Not music to dance to, you know?
Oh, it's just more chill music.
Yes. So yeah, so I had already like a 4-track package that I thought it will be cool for him to listen to. So I sent it to him, and then we got in the studio, and he like, you know, went through all of the tracks, just freestyled it, you know, and we recorded, and that's it. And then now I've been building on it, and I'm just super excited to be working on that. Yeah.
That's awesome. And you said that you will lock yourself in your house, and that's really how you write, and that's how the creative process is
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, because I feel the most comfortable. I'm the most comfortable at home, actually. And honestly, like, you can do everything in your computer nowadays. Yes, like for
Right.
mixing, definitely need different environment, but to put things together and put ideas together, I'm good here.
Yeah. Is that your setup right next to you?
Well, it's here.
Oh, because I could see some decks right next to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And well, like even prior to recording and all that stuff, I mean, you said you saw a friend, somebody you're with, like do a DJ set, and you're like, I can do that. Like, do you remember the first time going up on stage and performing to, a room full of people?
Yeah, I remember. It was in Miami Music Week, actually.
Oh, wow.
In I don't remember what year, 2013 maybe,
Okay.
or 12. But it was with Junior Sanchez, uh, a party from his label.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so scared because it was all these guys that were like in their 40s, and I was like a little old me. I could barely reach the decks. I was like, what is this?
Oh, wow.
But it was so cool, and it was so beautiful because once I got into the music, it was just like, yeah, it was just, I felt home.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the first time.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I would imagine, like, because it does. I mean, you could just be like, oh, it looks easy to go up there and push buttons and, do your thing. But like in reality, there's so much happening, right? I mean, you probably were like, whoa, this is way more difficult than I imagined when I was standing at the side of the stage.
Well, and you know what? It's not as much the technical side of it because, especially for me, I have been, I guess, working on that for a long time, and
Uh-huh.
that wasn't as much what I was concerned with. But it
Okay.
was more about like just feeling out of place and feeling judged. It's a lot of like, mental chatter that goes in
Mm.
my mind, and I guess a lot of people's, right? Like the
Right.
insecurity of like being judged and not fitting in, and being in a male dominated industry when I am somebody that looks completely different. And whether like it or not, uh in a lot of spaces it's still very much a boys club, so it can be intimidated for somebody like me at that
Yeah.
time.
No, I could totally see how that would be. Yeah, I completely agree with you. So the new one that you just put out, yeah, Vamo Pa La Brea, is that correct?
Vamo Pa La Brea, yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that song. Is that part of those records that you were working on with Bobo, or no?
No, those
Okay.
records will be released
Later down the line.
later this year.
Okay.
But that track, I was playing a lot of, it was made like this past year. It was created this past summer in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I was just getting back into playing like house music, DJing out a lot after the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. And I was DJing a lot of, actually not DJing, I became friends with all these Latino DJs in Los Angeles. Um, and I was very inspired by that sound. So I decided to create that song, and I was very inspired just by the vibe of those those shows
Mm-hmm.
and those events, and the growing Latino culture in LA in house music is really cool, actually. Like, it's so crazy because I've been DJing in LA for many years, and just now I am starting to see Latino culture embracing house music more in Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
So that is really fun and really cool. I played a show last August in downtown Los Angeles
Mm-hmm.
with Gordo. Um, and it was mostly it was a really big Latino crowd.
Uh-huh.
And it was outside. And I knew that Gordo has a very big Latino fan base. So I curated a set that was just very much focused on my roots and who I am as an artist. And it was just so cool because when I got there, everybody was Latino. And it
Wow.
was like when you usually go to an house music event, there's a lot of, you know, I don't know, especially in America, obviously, right? It's a lot of white people.
Yeah.
And I love my white people, right? But to see all my culture and the house music being Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
it was so inspiring. I had never seen that before like that. So it was very cool. And there was one moment where like I was playing this, I made an edit of Una Noche en Medellin from this Colombian artist.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a house beat, like a hard house beat, and then it breaks down into a reggaeton beat with like a really big vocal in Spanish. So when it broke down, the dance, like the whole thing went like this. Everybody, you could see everybody like, boom, just like dropping it back. It was so cool. It was really cool. It's a very cool feeling. And just like a very cultural moment for LA house music, I think, in my
That's all.
experience.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah.
amazing. I'm curious because parties and being out, right, and DJing is a big part of that world. It's not as much, I would imagine, as like putting a song out and just kind of waiting and watching. It's like going out and being a part of the lifestyle and being at the scene or at these clubs and going out. Like with the pandemic and all that happening, were you able to work a lot on your music, or was that kind of like a period where it got like what were you up to during that point? Because I would think that you probably want to go out and test some of these songs out on a room and see if okay, this is going to kill the mood or this is uplifting the people. Like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of it
It was
must
a
be.
very difficult time, and I can only speak for personal experience.
Yeah.
I only know my life really, but it was, for me, it was a very transformative year
Mm-hmm.
personally, and so that forced me to step back from music and just deal with my personal life for that whole year actually. So I
Mm-hmm.
stopped making music and I stopped playing. It was
Oh
actually at the
wow.
perfect time because I didn't have to waste time after or before, you know.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Okay.
so I stopped making music, and in 2021, that was when kind of started making music. I was making music that was no foot on the floor. It was more like music to listen to.
Okay.
So I didn't release any of that, and I was just feeling it was going very inwardly,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and kind of like putting all of that into the music. So now participating in the scene, just it was a very healing year for me. And I was creating a lot of music, but nothing got released. Nothing. It was not house music. Nothing for like put on the floor. So I guess that's how the pandemic influenced my creative musical side. Like it sounded completely different.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because I would imagine not being able to see the crowd's reaction and is the song gonna work or not gonna work, that being a big part of that world. And, if you're at home trying to create something
Yeah.
with no energy kind of vibing back with you, it would be probably pretty difficult.
Yeah, yeah. But it was honestly like I made a lot of music that I am proud of during that time. Maybe one day we'll release some of them.
Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for doing this, Lupe. This has been amazing.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, I have one more question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Ooh, any advice? I think just not listen to the outside noise. Don't look too much at social media. Just post and then go back into creating and be influenced by the people who are around you. Like the authenticity and not the just the fluff.
Bringing it backward.